It's HPR, All Things Considered, and I'm Dave Lawrence. Today we're continuing a chat with Billy Payne of Little Feat, back with their first new album in 12 years, including this cover of Muddy Waters' Long Distance Call, featuring Bonnie Raitt.
Oh, one of these days, babe, I'm gonna show you just how nice a woman can be. I'm gonna buy you a brand new Cadillac, baby. Go only speak some good words about me.
The album is Sam's Place, and it's Billy Payne of Little Feat sharing stories with us.
We recorded that in Memphis, Sam Phillip, one of his studios. It wasn't Sun Studios, but it was another one. And his son Jerry worked there, by the way. But we walked in the room and we started to play, and we had headphones, but we really couldn't hear very much. We were going, can't really hear what's going on. Bomar was the guy that was the main engineer. And he says, boys, that's the way we do it down here. And we're like, that's fine that you do it that way, but we would like to do it a slightly different way. So we were polite, we're in the South. Well, 8 people were shot in front of the hotel the night before we came in.
Oh, man.
We're in Memphis, Tennessee. I mean, it's like, come on. This was our love letter to the blues. I was playing Jerry Lee Lewis's piano.
How cool is that?
I kind of viewed it as the piano played itself.
Places like that can obviously bring out an incredible sound and sometimes bring the right kind of energy or vibe for musicians. But also, when I think of playing the piano, drawing a little bit of a context for folks on this record is Bonnie Raitt, for example. So it's like he's got, and you guys are covering actually another Muddy Waters classic, Long Distance Call. But when you look at the big scope of the names that you're associated with, I didn't actually see this guy among the sessions, but I thought it was an interesting story that Elton John is listed in your Wikipedia page as a huge fan of yours.
Well, it's interesting that you brought it up because Bonnie Raitt was the person that called me one evening when I lived in Los Angeles. She goes, Bill or Billy, you know Elton John is a fan of yours. I go, really? Oh, well, Elton John was a big fan. He'd like to meet you, and he's playing at Universal City. Would you care to drive down there and meet him? And so I said, well, yeah, sure, okay. And so I drove down there, and Dave, there were so many people that were crowded around the place and trying to get in and this and that. I walked up to where my name may or may not have been on the backstage list, and I just said, I really don't want to do this. So I drove home. Years later, I saw Davy Johnstone, who plays guitar with Elton.
Yeah.
We were down in Sydney, Australia, and the Siebel Townhouse was the hotel I bumped into Davey at, and he says, "Oh, Elton's here. He would love to say hello to you." And we were downstairs and we're talking for a while, and I said, gosh, Davey, if he's available, let's do it. And if not, let's just please tell him thank you. I'm a fan of his too. I've since worked with who's the guy that wrote all the songs with him?
Bernie Taupin.
Yeah, Bernie Taupin. I played on one of Bernie's records, actually 2 of his. So please let Elton know I thank him for the praise, and I aim it right back at him. And I never to this day met him. So.
Wow. That is a fascinating story. So you got to, and I know what you mean, the chaos outside of like a superstar. It's so much. You just don't want to have to deal with, hi, I'm so-and-so, and try to navigate. I've been at like backstage at Ozfest trying to get close to Ozzy and going, I don't know, I want to go into that world. But I know when when I think of the Elton 2 times, you drive all the way there, you see all that, you can't do it. Then you're with Davey and sitting there, and so you just decided not to meet him. Wow, I got to hand it to you, because that's very revealing of the intensity of some of that stuff and how much of a turnoff it really can be. Before I wrap it up with you, because you've been very generous, and I could talk to you all day, but I'm wondering if you have any cool story about this. I've seen Little Feat a few times. The one I remember the most, I believe the month was June. I know it was 1991. We went to see, my mom, my dad, and my girlfriend at the time, and some others. We got to go see the Grateful Dead headlining at Giant Stadium, and the great Little Feat was opening the show for 2 nights at Giant Stadium. Can you even remember those, my brother?
I can indeed. And one of them, we went on in the afternoon, I believe. And Jerry Garcia was sitting on a road case just off stage listening to us when we played. And we knew Jerry, but how cool was that to have Jerry Garcia listening to you?
I love it. Yeah, you went on some point earlier, but that just shows the kind of life this cat has. And I'm just going to read a quick sample of his grocery list just to give you the kind of thing, because you'll find this guy's name. It could be Bonnie Raitt, Jackson Browne, J.J. Cale, Robert Palmer, Carly Simon, Neil Diamond, Jimmy Buffett, Barbra Streisand, Rod Stewart, Bob Seger, Greg Allman, B.B. King, Stevie Nicks, Doobie Brothers, James Taylor. Final question, and it's based on the song that I'm going to go out with. This is one I believe that you wrote or co-wrote, Time Loves a Hero. When I hear that song, it takes me right back to being a little kid. Any cool story for that?
Well, I tell you that I was, Fran Tate, who was, I can't remember if Fran co-wrote that with me or not. It might have been her and Paul Barrera, and certainly Kenny Gradney, who played the bass line in it. Yeah. Fran and I were down in the Virgin Islands, and when we're coming back, we stopped off in Puerto Rico, and we went into one of the casinos just to sort of in between flights to look around. And at that juncture, I was starting to make up a story about an uncle that I had, which I didn't, but I mean, if I did, he would be from Puerto Rico. He would have left the States many years ago, that kind of. So I was creating this story about the song itself. But I can also tell you that the title, Time Loves a Hero, I've introduced the new band, and I say, look, we honor Lowell and Paul and Richie every time we get up here. They are a part of our family. They always will be, and we honor those of you that have stuck with us. But yeah, we're part of this larger circle. That was also what that song was about. Yeah,
well, that's a huge way of putting it.
I got to say, I was a huge fan, still am, of the Allman Brothers, and God rest Dickie Betts' soul is all I can say. It's when he first came on our bus to leave you a lasting image of Dickie.
Please do.
People normally knock on the door before they get on our bus, and this fella just opened the door and he threw his hat in. And he came in about 5-10 seconds later. He says, I just wanted to see if anybody was going to shoot at it. That's Dickie Betts. I didn't really know him.
Okay.
But Greg and I had a substantial conversation about himself and Little Feat and Dwayne, his brother. Great stuff. I mean, it's a musical community that when I was in a basement in Eden Hall, just outside of Amsterdam, I was talking to Keith Richards. The Rolling Stones had come to hear us en masse play a concert there. And I'm going, oh, Keith, oh my gosh. And he grabbed me and he pulled me in and he says, oh, mate, we're all part of the same cloth. Wow. In other words, welcome to the club, Bill.
Nice.
And in fact, we are part of something that's a lot bigger than any of us.
We've been blessed today. Little Feat keyboardist, vocalist, original member, co-founder, Billy Payne, and he's played with so many people, and the new album is Sam's Place. It's out now. Billy, I really hope that you had fun today. Now, be honest, were you remotely entertained?
I was more than entertained. I was honored to talk to you. And are you in Honolulu?
Yes, I am.
All right. Well, I give you a fond aloha and then certainly a heartfelt mahalo as well.
Been a big fan since I was a little boy, 6, 7 years old. My next door neighbor, Michelle McMullen, she had that live record, The Waiting for Columbus, and she was turning me on to you when I was that young, when that was brand new. So giving you a huge hug. Please stay safe out there and feel the gratitude, my brother.
You too, my friend. And yeah, I really enjoyed the conversation. Thanks for taking the time to have it with me.
You're very welcome. Aloha, brother.
Aloha.
Well, they say time loves a hero, but only time will tell if he's real. He's a legend from heaven. If he ain't, he was sent here from hell. He'll be well. 'Cause see, it ain't always believing. Just make sure that you see it. I sometimes lie. deceiver. Got an uncle in Puerto Rico. Spends his days in the sun, his nights in the casino. He left the States many years ago. Took a fishing boat to Puerto Rico. Now my aunt, she is sad and lonely. She'll never know that you drove him away.